Hey everybody, it's Mark the Family Woodworker. Time for another tool review. Now before we get too deep into this video, I want to say that I'm not sponsored by Ryobi, so you're going to get my straight opinion on how the tools have performed here. And so while I'm a homeowner rather than a general contractor, I've had 6 properties to remodel over the years, in addition to all the work that comes out of the wood shop. So I'm a pretty heavy user of these tools, and we've got a bunch to review. I've had half of these tools for 3 years or more, and they've held up really well. But let's start with the cordless drill. This is a 1/2-inch drill with a keyless chuck, and it's by far the heaviest used tool at my house. It's got the power to drill through any material at any thickness, like this really dense piece of white oak. And that's at the full length of the drill bit. No problem getting through. And when you put a paddle bit in, the paddle bit and this drill work out really well. In fact, you're going to see this drill in a lot of my woodworking videos because I use it on almost every project, including that heirloom craftsman style rocker and with a Forstner bit on this clock. Let's move into the 5.5-inch circular saw. Well, provided you don't have expectations about this thing performing like a corded contractor type circular saw, this is a fantastic portable utility saw that goes anywhere, makes pretty clean cuts on lumber and plywood when you're not near an outlet or a generator. So we had a 3/4 piece of plywood that we cut through. This is about 1.25 inch thickness of pine, and it's a pretty clean cut. And of course it does dimensional lumber as well. 2x4s, 2x6s, no problem. I would, however, use the thicker, the heavier duty battery on this saw because it tends to suck up power to generate the torque that it needs. It's pretty easy to adjust the cutting depth as well as adjust for a miter cut as well. And there's also a laser line built in. When you squeeze the trigger, it lines you up on your cut. Now let's talk about this 1/4 inch impact driver. And just to demo, this is a 3-inch construction screw without a pre-drilled hole, no problem. And again, on the inside, I've got 3 different pieces of pine here and some plywood on the bottom. Watch how fast this goes. Plenty of power on this impact driver. Now let's talk about the surprise of the century. Now this is a tool that my wife noticed at the home center, so we bought it, but I never thought it would get a lot of use. Now this thing looks like an old dustbuster from the 80s that kind of sucked, or more appropriately stated, didn't really suck. But this guy has pretty great suction and some other benefits too. It's easy to clean out, and it's a great bug buster. And so my daughters can't stand spiders. And to show you with this little extended attachment, I've got some stink bugs, and they go bye-bye to the hotel. Works great on these little Asian beetles too. No problem on those either. And because of a rubber flap that's built to the inside of the vacuum, nothing really falls out. So once the bugs go in, they don't come out. Of course, if you've got tarantulas to deal with, I can't help you there. Now let's get into the reciprocating saw. This was another surprise tool that I bought because I was working in my crawl space and I didn't have enough cord. This turned out to have fantastic power, better than the reciprocating saw, the corded saw that I bought from Harbor Freight. And the other benefit to this is that you can take it outside in the yard. So if you don't have a chainsaw and you've got a little trimming to do, this thing is amazing. In fact, let's take some hardwood branches. These are about 1.5 inches thick. And I mean, no problem getting through this material. So quite a workhorse with this reciprocating saw. Now let's talk about the handheld router. Now it's not going to have the juice, and we have the same issue with the circular saw. If you're going to cut a lot of panels or a lot of subflooring, you need a corded saw. And if you're going to do a lot of heavy duty work, you're going to need a corded router. But for small projects or laminates that you might be cutting in the kitchen, or just smaller trimming projects with a round over bit or a beveled bit, this is pretty lightweight and easy to use. Here's another project we did for a custom stool top. And again, the round over bit, no problem getting around this group of hardwoods and epoxy. Now, another great little tool is this mini compressor. And rather than have to pull your full-size compressor out of the basement up to the garage, this thing's pretty handy if you've got a low tire to fill up, or a hand truck tire that just needs some air, or a snow blower, or an ATV, whatever. I mean, this thing is portable. You can carry it in your trunk. It easily fits in a tool bag, and wherever you need it, it's there. And it also goes up to some pretty high PSI, so if you've got bicycle tires, the ones that are rated up to like 80 pounds, this compressor does a great job. Last in our series is this battery-operated blower. Now, it's never going to have the power that you would normally see in a gas-powered blower, but in terms of the velocity out of this thing, it's pretty comparable to a corded blower. And my wife really likes the thing because it is so lightweight, it's easy to carry around anywhere on the property. So how do they last? They actually last really well. I'm really pleased with this group of tools. Now, they're not contractor grade, but they're not priced that way. Great overall quality, great for home use, remodeling, repairs, and they've provided me years of service. The really noteworthy tools are the drill and the impact driver. They seem to have a great battery life and great power. The reciprocating saw was awesome. The tire inflator, just priceless. It's so easy to move around. And the mini vac, great for eliminating bugs if your kids are afraid of bugs. Okay, so let's be honest about the stuff that's not that great. You know, the circular saw, it is handy for remote work. It's lightweight, it's easy to carry, but because of the torque required to drive that motor, the battery does not last all that long. Same observation for that mini router. I think for laminates in the kitchen or something like that, or softwood work, it's great, but again, it doesn't last. Now the blower, I think it's underpowered if you're comparing it to a gas-powered blower, but it's lightweight. My wife loves carrying it around the property. It's not a problem. For the average homeowner, this suite of tools is really fantastic. Thanks for joining us for this review. You guys take care.